Call to order. Roll call.
Ms. Baker.
Here.
Mr. Cox. Here. Mr. Dominic. Present. Mr. Epperson. Here. Mr. Escaday. Here. Mr. Jenkins. Present. Mr. Lynn. Here. Ms. Lynch.
Here.
Ms. McCullough.
Here.
Mr. Pearson. Present. Mr. Smith. Here. Mr. Thibodeau. Have a full house, Madam President.
All right, if we could stand for the invocation by Commissioner Thibodeau, Pledge of Allegiance by Mrs. Samuels.
Lord, in anticipation of the holiday for the military coming up Monday, we wish to ask you to bless all those men and women who serve us in our military, to bless all those families who have lost loved ones in the military, and also to give thanks to all the people who have died in the past to protect our freedom here in the United States. We ask you to take care of those who are in harm's way, and we ask all of these things in your Son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag, place your right hand over your heart, and recite the pledge along with me, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda additions, Commissioner Epperson.
Yes, I would like to add an addition to the agenda to recognize, to have a proclamation drawn up for the Evangel Christian Academy girls softball team and the Evangel Christian Academy boys baseball team in recognition of their state championship endeavors.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Jenkins. Add that to the agenda. Any discussion? Please vote.
Okay.
One more time, Commissioner Cox.
We're trying to
Okay, that passes.
we're trying to put our deals back together.
Any other agenda additions? Next item, I can get a motion on the minutes.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner Escaday. Any discussion? Please vote. One more time, Commissioner Baker. Okay, thank you. That passes. The Loyola group is not here yet, so we're going to skip over that. Next, communication reports. Mr. Wilson?
Ma'am, we don't have any report today.
Okay. Any other commissioners?
I have a
Commissioner
question.
Dominique?
I did put a letter at everybody's table. Just wanted to state that was from Betty Matthews. She is our appointment on the Shreveport Bossier Convention Tourism Board, and she just was expressing her thankfulness for being able to serve. I asked her to come today, but she serves on the Weight Watchers Committee and was unable to come. She said she was going to get me and Commissioner Cox to come, but I thought she might not get reappointed.
Hey, wait a minute. She gonna bring some pudding?
I told her we probably but she might not get reappointed. But the main thing I wanted to say was, and she did too. She works at the Vivian Railroad Station Museum in Vivian. Commissioner Lynn had presented us with it's basically a picture. It was a real nice framed picture. His grandfather used to be the superintendent of public works in the northern part of the parish, and it was a thing in the 1940s where there was a river that the water got high, and they put that in the museum, and she just wanted to express her appreciation. I do too. I thank you, Commissioner Lynn, for that. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner McCullough?
Yes, Mr. Wilson, in regards to sewer district number 2, were you able to contact Mr. Ken Borland in relation
No, ma'am,
allowance program?
no, ma'am, not yet.
Okay.
I'm still trying to research all of the information on that for him.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I see no other commissioners. If I can get a motion to suspend rules. Visitors. Who made the motion? Commissioner Cox, second by Commissioner Dominique. I'm trying to read these cards here. Without exception. Let's see, the first card I have is Mark Bates. Mark Bates.
But he's with Lakeview.
Oh, is that the,
Yeah.
okay, I'm
He's-
sorry,
he'll come
Mr.
up
Bates, let me,
You'll come with
you're
public
on
hearing.
the public hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Martha Bates is the same. What about Susan Cherry? Is this the same? Okay. That's a zoning too. Okay, Mr. Wayne Woodson. You can state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. I'm Wayne Woodson, 4041 North Market, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. And my subject here today is Pine Hill old water rates, flat rate. I think y'all just about done heard this enough, you just may know it by heart, but I'll say it again. I looked in the blue pages of the telephone book under Caddo Parish government, and I saw the Caddo Parish Commission is under the government. I pay over $4,000 a year taxes on this piece of property. And since I paid taxes, I thought I'd come down and see could I get some help. Back in January, the Pine Hill Waterworks distributed a letter to 5 tenants at this particular piece of property, which is 4841 North Market, stating that each meter would be charged a $45 rate. I attended the meeting to share with the board. It was only one meter, and the $45 would be okay. But they came back, at this meeting, let me back up. I asked Mr. Miles, how did he come to charging $45 per customer? And he stated the Ethics Committee in Baton Rouge compelled him to do that. So we were back and forth, and Miss McCullough was there, so she recommended that I write the Ethics Committee. So they gave me a phone number. I called the Ethics Committee, and I found out it was the Louisiana Board of Ethics. I wrote the letter, and they returned the letter and said that they knew nothing about the Pine Hill Waterworks, and it was out of their jurisdiction. So I gathered that Mr. Meyer kind of falsified a little bit with me. So we talked about over the last, each year, the water bill was less than $600 a year. 7 people in the building, no public use of the water. They just wash their hands and use the restroom because we can't drink the water. It's bad, so we have to buy water to drink. And so when we explained that to Mr. Miles, he came back, since there wasn't but 1 meter, he lumped everybody into the 1 meter. So last month, I think my bill was, I'm just managing the bill, I'm not the customer, was $30-some bucks, and the last one I got was $261. And with my water bill, I pay them together, was $318 for the water. So I am in disbelief that this board cannot do something. Some way they get appointed. And everybody I've gone to Baton Rouge, and everybody sends me back to you all. Now, if it's just one commissioner and the one president, because those other people just sitting there, they have no input, they have no input sitting, they're just sitting there. So it needs to be governed by more than 2 people for a whole community that have some problems. And we need to try to get business in north of Shreveport, but we just kind of paying utilities. Nobody, I say nobody, I certainly wouldn't move in there if I found out all these charges. 34 years old is a structure which should be grandfathered. Now, I kind of calculated $45 for 5 units is $225. Why did I get a $260 bill? Then I understand a couple of days ago it is over at the library trying to understand how to figure out a water bill. So it's a big problem, and I just cannot believe that you all can't do something about it. Now, I did get a letter from your office, and it was a can't-do letter, too. I can't find anybody can do. It's a can't do, and I just can't believe it. Now, what is your take on that, Brother Jenkins?
I can't engage in a conversation with you about it like that.
How about you, Brother Thibodeau? How about you, Ms. McCollum?
Mr. Woodson?
Yes, ma'am. Well,
We're all listening to you.
okay. Well, see, I've been coming out here since February, and I appreciate your patience. And y'all sit and look at me. I leave, come back and talk to you again. He just looks at me, and I leave, and I try to run you down to get some consideration. I decided I'd call a few names and see. I still have another can't do. But what I'm planning on doing, I don't know, see how this will come out. I'm going to remove my name and address from the water meter and let the Pine Hill Waterworks manage their own bills. And if one person move in or out, there's no process on how you handle it. I'll have to call them, or who have to call them, they're gone. And if someone decides they ain't going to pay the bill, are they going to cut the water from everybody? How are they going to plan this? But anyway, I guess I can ask a question. Can I hear from y'all later on it? And you still can't answer me, but
What specifically do you want to hear back on?
I want to hear someone challenge, what I call this is really seen to be criminal, to come in and just change a 34-year-old building and put a flat rate in there when the facilities does not come up to standard on each business having a meter, because each business uses different amount of water. It's not fair to charge everybody the same thing, plus about 40 more bucks and the $261 instead of the $225. So if something can be done, and I'm going to ask y'all to look into it for me, and if they cut those people water off, and if anybody planning on running for another office, and they find out that won't look good on a resume if you're going to run for office and you got a loud mouth like me saying, well, we in District 2 are not being taken care of by this particular individual, whoever it is. So that's just something to think about, and I am totally unhappy. And the mentality is, I want to be blunt, but I don't want to slam anybody, but it is really
I appreciate that.
at a low. I thank you very much, and I'm going to look to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Larry Nugent.
I'm Larry Nugent, 800 Stony Creek Drive, Manny, Louisiana, 71449. Madam President, I really appreciate the opportunity to address the Commission this afternoon. I represent Energy Transfer Company, the Tiger Pipeline, and I have with me today Mr. Leon Banta, who is going to be the field project manager, and Mark Bedrow, who is he's the person responsible for all the right-of-way in this particular pipeline area. And what I really wanted to do is give you, just discuss briefly the project that's going from Delhi, Louisiana to Carthage, Texas. And it's going to be a total of, I guess, about 180-mile project, 42-inch pipeline. It'll have 4 compressor stations on it, located on it, one in Carthage, Texas, one in Red River, Bienville, and Jackson Parish. They'll have a total of 7 interconnects on the pipeline, and it'll have a daily capacity of somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 billion cubic feet a day. And the purpose really is to provide transportation of the gas out of the Haynesville Shale to the northwest, up to the northeast, and down to the southeastern part of the United States. It's going to have what we feel some pretty serious benefits to the region. We will have temporary jobs in the neighborhood of 12 to 1,500 jobs. Right-of-way easements will provide additional revenue to the landowners, your constituents. Should be a great economic stimulus to the region as well, with restaurants, motel, RV parks, and what all the needs of the employees that will be building this pipeline will need. We will have a permanent force after the pipeline is completed of approximately 22 people. We currently have a regional office here in Shreveport. It's at 3500 Erie Drive, right next to the Broadmoor Baptist Church, and that's the location where Mr. Banta is right now as well. This will be a FERC-regulated project. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, as you probably know, they have some pretty strict guidelines, and we will conform to those as well. We've had 4 open houses across the area to introduce the project to the community, to invite the landowners there, and all 4 of them have been very, very well attended. The Federal Regulatory Group will be holding 4 meetings the first week of June to continue, dissecting and entertaining all of the things that should come before the commission at that time. We have currently contacted all of the landowners for permission to survey, and Mr. Vedral was just telling me that about 95% of the surveys have currently been completed. So we're near completion of all that. We have a website. I put a brochure up on your position today. We have a website, an 800 number on the back of that if you would like to obtain any further information. My responsibility is going to be interfacing with all the governmental agencies in the 8 county and parish region that the pipeline will be affected. In a sense, I will be your contact person if you ever need to talk with me about the project. We have another person in Baton Rouge who is contacting all of the state legislators, even has talked to the governor about the project itself. So we're trying to cover all the levels of government, let you know that somebody is here and you have a person to contact. Not that I'm exclusive, but you can contact any of these guys anytime you want to as well. But I've had some conversation with a few of you, and it was suggested first by Mr. Epperson that I just come before the commission to give you a brief description of it, to let you know who I am and how to get in touch with me, and to answer any questions, or at least get information back to the company. And talk with Mr. Smith, who will be located completely in his district. And but we won't actually start construction of this pipeline until summer of 2010, but it will be completed in operation by early 2011. So that's about the extent of what I need to talk with you about. I'd like to open it for any questions or comments. I have my experts here, so you need to take advantage of them today. But I will be in regular attendance to your meeting. Well, maybe not come to all of them, but at least I'll be around enough that you'll know me and at least know how to get in touch with me if you need to. Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Smith? You can state your full name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Lester Smith. My address is 4148 Theo Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71109. I'm here today to host this commission in regards to a program, Project Clean Slate. This program it's based out of Portland, Oregon, and we're trying to get that program initiated here in Shreveport for our at-risk and the disadvantaged youth in the area. And just people who are having hard times with tickets, child support, just different things in our community that we're confronted with on a daily basis that, when you're out there, you deal with these issues. And if we can get this program through the parish or, whatever it is that you are planning to do with it, it would deter a lot of the things that we see in the community as far as crime and young men hanging out on corners, because a lot of young men, they're not seeking employment for past mistakes they made, or have warrants out for their arrest, or child support and different endeavors, that affects their lives. But if we can put this program into place, which it would bring these guys in and they do community service to work some of this stuff off so that they can become productive citizens, apply for work on getting the child support, the back child support payments paid, and also get some much needed parenting and counseling that we find a lot of our youth need. Statistics suggest that there are a lot of one-parent homes, so a woman basically cannot teach a young man how to be a man or teach him about manly responsibility. And in this program, it's set up to try to teach young men about responsibility. And action, there's a reaction. Behind every action, there's a reaction. And to try to deter some of the negativity that goes on in the community where our youth and young adults are concerned. So we're here today, I'm here today to ask for your support supporting Sister Rose McCullough in her endeavor to bring this through the Parish Commission to try and put a program in place, an alternative program in place for our youth and young adults. A lot of people, they talk the talk, but they're not walking the walk. And we're going through too many things in the community where our youth are concerned. There are killings just about every night. You look at the news, there's killing, there's this. Young men hanging out on corners with idle time. Maybe this will also eliminate some of the drug trafficking in our community, because if people can work, I think people's drugs is the results of not having opportunities to go to work, or they got things in their background that won't permit them to apply in a normal fashion for fear of incarceration, or having, if I go, I have to pay back child support. If I work, they're going to take all my money for child support. So there's a lot of issues out there, and this program here will kind of deter some of those issues and fix some of those problems that we're confronted with. And I'm not here because I'm looking for a grant from my group, Black Men for Change. We're not looking for any money. This is not a hustle for me. I'm here because I'm concerned about the conditions of our community and our city. And when we make our communities better, it produces a better city. So I'm asking you all as government participants from each area of the city to look at this program and give us your support for this program. And I'm sure Sister McCullough have talked to you all about it. And I see we had a letter by Mr. Wilson in regards to the program. So we're asking for support for this program, and we need your help in getting this program, especially with the summer months coming, to give these guys something to do in forms of community service, cleaning their records so that they can apply for a job, and just getting out there and we as leaders trying to create some alternatives for our young people. Thank you.
Clinton Weisinger. State your name and address for the record, please.
Clint Weisinger, 3339 Old Morningsport Road, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. I want to thank you for taking time to listen to what I have to say today. I'm here also in support of Project Clean Slate. What I do is I do job placement specialist for One Church, One Offender, and we work very close with our ex-offenders. And one of the huge problems that we are facing, that I face when I go out and I solicit with our potential employers for jobs for our clients, is the background check. And it's a huge problem for those who have minor things in their record. And as I said earlier, it is very difficult for them to find employment. And as spoken earlier about the child support being a very huge issue. I'm a young male, I pay child support, and if at some point in time that I do cross the law and have myself put in a position where I must go through a program to rehabilitate myself, it's very, very difficult and it's very frustrating once I feel that I've paid my debt to society that I can't get a job because of what's in my record. Now, I do understand there are some certain conditions or concerns that we do have concerning our ex-offenders, but when you go out and you have individuals that make that mistake, I don't think that they really should be condemned for the rest of their lives for making a minor mistake. There's not one person that's walking the face of the earth has never, ever made a mistake in their lives. And it's very disheartening when you go through the community and you see that we can have some things that we can do inside the community that can set forth as, how do we put it, as a leg up or a hand out to pull someone up out of a situation. Majority of our offenders are lacking in education in some areas. Now, we're not blaming the schools for the problem. I'm not saying it's solely the school problem, because it takes a whole village to raise kids. It just can't be up to the parents, it's just up to the schools to do it. But when they do cross that line and they do get in trouble with their law, find themselves on the other side of those bars, once they come out, it's very difficult, extremely difficult to find employment. As a job placement specialist, I have a lot of companies that will tell me no. I can understand there are legal circumstances that will be surrounding them hiring ex-offenders, but if we do not give an ex-offender an opportunity, like with projects like Project Clean Slate, what we're looking at is a continuous rise in the building of correctional facilities, because one thing we're going to be looking at is more and more individuals will be going back across that line and crossing the law again, just out of necessity of trying to survive or to make a living. I'm asking that you do vote in support of the project, because more than likely everyone at some point in time will need help. I know from first-hand experience from the job that I'm working now, I talk to ex-offenders every day almost. Even when I'm supposed to be on my off days, I meet an employee or a person who possibly owns a business, I give them my business card and I'm still talking to them. That's 7 days a week and I'm only supposed to work 5. I feel that if we come together as a group effort, I mean, we can set this thing into motion and make it happen. It's been very successful for other states. And I mean, it's just a program that I think is worth venturing into. We can have productive citizens and they can pay taxes once they get employed, along with going through with the program, instead of having people who have to constantly continue to raise taxes to pay for correctional facilities, corrections officers, and things of that nature, when they can actually be basically rehabilitated, get our hands up, get back on their feet, and once again, start working in the community after they've paid their debt to society. It's a problem that's also occurring with them finding housing. It's very difficult for them to find housing in some areas. I can understand we all want safe neighborhoods, we all want good schools for our kids, but if you're supposed to be a person to go through and get a second chance in life, a true second chance will be through Project Clean Slate, by allowing them to get licenses for an ABO card or other type of gaming license so they can support themselves. I'd like to thank everyone for your time today.
Thank you, Mr. Weisinger. I can get a motion to go back in the regular session. Without exception. Next item, Mr. Spears.
Public hearing on zoning cases. You have one case here today, zoning case appeal, DAP 409. Susan Cherry Harvest Hands LLC is the applicant and appellant. MPC denied the applicant's request for special exception use in R1D for proposed 2 mobile homes on 2 separate lots.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this zoning case? Good afternoon, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Grant Cherry. I live at 4545 Francis Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71129. I'm a co-applicant with Mrs. Cherry. Okay. I'm here today to ask for a variance on 2 residential lots in the neighborhood, as you well know. And I'm here asking for that variance based on what's been done in the neighborhood since its inception. Is this screen working here today?
Yes, I think you all can get
put
that
something on
working.
it?
When we were asked whoever's in charge to set it up.
Yeah, Jerry's.
Right here? Okay. Well, if it's not, I can hold it up. I just hold it up for you?
You got it.
Okay. This is a plat map I received from the MPC office off of their computer. If you can see all those green marks on there are single-wide zoning variances. What I'm asking for today is to be treated equally as all these other homeowners and property owners have out in this neighborhood, to put my mobile homes in there and leave them in there, provide housing. I'm a businessman. I got some good housing there. I've invested over $50,000, not a lot already out there, this out there, and I've improved the neighborhood. I've brought good to the neighborhood, and there's a need for what we have. And at that point, that's about all I have to say. I'm open for questions of any type from anyone.
We don't do questions at this part of the hearing. It's just for you to come and state your support of it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak in favor of this zoning case? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Susan Cherry, and I reside at 4545 Francis Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71129. And I would like to thank y'all for the opportunity to come and speak to you today. I'm here because the ZBA has turned us down on a previous zoning matter for this, and I feel that we have been treated unjustly and unfair, and I think that we have been discriminated against because we're putting rental property into the subdivision. The subdivision, however, already has many rental properties in it already, as well as it has over 100 single wides already in the subdivision. I have a list here of every address in the neighborhood that has a single wide mobile home, and there's over 100 in here already. Of course, I gave that information to the last zoning board, but that didn't seem to matter. All I'm asking you here for today is to receive the same treatment that over 100 people have already received, and that is to get a variance to have my 2 single-wide mobile homes in this neighborhood. I have, between letters and a petition that I have here, I have 45 signatures of people that say they don't care if I have these single-wides in this neighborhood. Many of them are right there on the street. Some of them are on the back side of the street on Ridgeway that back up to my lots there. It's easy to get people to come when they're in opposition of something. Everybody wants to come and rah-rah and fight and say, I'm against this. But when they don't care, they won't come. But they said, I'll gladly sign a letter and a petition or whatever you need me to sign. I can't imagine they would say why you need permission to put single-wide mobile homes in this subdivision when the subdivision is full of them. And I said, well, it's a procedure that I'm understanding that we have to go through in order to get this done, and so that's why we're doing it. So they gladly signed it. The opposition from the people at the ZBA meeting says, basically their comment was, we don't want this kind of people that are going to rent these mobile homes in this neighborhood. Well, I don't know exactly what they meant by this kind of people, but the kind of people I'm looking for is someone who can pay the rent and who will take good care of my property and can pass we do background checks on our tenants before they move in to make sure they don't have any federal offenses against them pending or finalized. We don't allow those type of tenants. So that's the type of tenant I'm looking for, someone who can pay the rent each month and who will take care of my property. Again, I'm asking for the same thing that over 100 people have already received in this neighborhood. I'm not asking for any special treatment. I'm not asking for you to do anything for me that has not been done for other people that are in the Lakeview subdivision as it stands. There's no subdivision restrictions. There's from A to Z in that neighborhood out there. You've got little small houses, and you've got huge houses that face the lake. And so there's a variance of things all across the board of what's out there. The main problem I see in Lakeview subdivision is the property standards. And they're working on that. I'm sure Joanne will toot her horn when she gets up here and say that, well, I'm heavy on this, and she is, and she's doing a really good job. That's the kind of thing that needs to be done in Lakeview subdivision to get the subdivision, if they're trying to bring the property back up, is to do those kind of things, because when there's already 100 mobile homes in there, what are they going to do? Have everybody pull those mobile homes out? I don't think so. And so why are you drawing the line with me to tell me that I can't have my mobile homes in there, And I have pictures of my mobile homes. They're very nice mobile homes. They're modern mobile homes. They're up to date. They're current. They're beautiful inside. They'll draw very nice tenants. And like I said, I just want people to take care of my property. I've not really discussed pretty much any of this with anybody on this board. I kind of mentioned it to Jim Smith just a little bit because he's a real estate agent and so am I, and so I kind of mentioned it to him. We did meet with Rose McCullough. We went to her home. We visited with her. We went out to the property with her in our vehicle and drove her around all over the neighborhood. And she stated at that time that she had no opposition. She didn't see any problem with it because of what the neighborhood is already. So again, I thank you for your time very much. I appreciate you listening to us, and I'm just asking for the same thing that has been given to many people before, I guess, that have either been in this position or at the ZBA. I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but that's what I'm asking for here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in support of this zoning case? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? You, Ms. Wheelis? Joanne Wheelis? You, Ms. Wheelis? Okay.
My name is Joanne Wheelis. I live at 3448 Hiawatha, Shreveport 71107. I am here to speak in opposition of the application and ask that you uphold the decision of the ZBA to deny the Cherries the variance to put the two single-wide mobile homes in our neighborhood as the ZBA had decided. It's a long story. I realize we only have 15 minutes, and I probably am not going to take more than 3. I do want you to understand the reason that we oppose mobile homes being placed in the position that they are in and in the location that they are in. Yes, there are many mobile homes in our subdivision. There are not many mobile homes on this street. The way the Cherries have placed the mobile homes in are, they're two single-wide mobile homes. They paid $12,000 a piece for them, placed them on lots that they paid $3,000 a piece for. And they are situated, surrounded by other homes that are in the $60,000 to $90,000 price range. So it stands to reason that that placement of those properties as they are, where they are, would decrease the value of the surrounding properties. The Cherries did not have permission to place the mobile homes on the properties as they did. They had consent to place two double-wide mobile homes on those lots. They placed the single-wides in without consent or permission. I talked to Mr. Cherry at length about his development plan and told him what my problem was with it and the problem that we had in the neighborhood and with the neighbors that are immediately surrounding the two single-wide mobile homes. He's a realtor. I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for over 30 years. I do understand about property values. I think he understands about property values also. His business is renting trailers for income. His interest and desire to be a part of our neighborhood is different than my desire, and I've been a part of that neighborhood for over 26 years. Mr. Cherry and Mrs. Cherry are in our neighborhood and have placed the mobile homes there with the hope of their own personal financial gain. The problem is that their financial gain will be at the demise of the other surrounding property owners' financial position. In your packet, and I did call yesterday to make sure that MPC had forwarded everything that I sent. We had handed out packages to the ZBA members. There is a booklet that I put out to all of the ZBA members. If you don't have yours and can't find it, I have an extra. There are several sections in this book. We have petitions and letters also from people who are in opposition. There are people who came to me and asked what to do. They signed petitions, they signed letters. And then there were other people that said, I don't want to, I don't know, I don't have a typewriter, can't type a letter, I'll sign a letter. I wrote a form letter. They signed. There were approximately 24 signatures in this package altogether. And then there are other people who've come forward since then in opposition additionally. All of those are copied in your package. There are some photographs that were in the original packets, and I have additional photographs here if you don't have any, of some of the activities in our neighborhood. And yes, I'm not going to toot my horn. It's not me that's done all the work. I'm not the one that's collected 212 tons of trash and pulled it out of our neighborhood over the last 10 years. It's a group of very dedicated volunteers who come forward every time there's a call for action or a need for help in our neighborhood. It's not just all about Joanne. My name keeps coming up as a single person that is responsible for opposing and responsible for improving our neighborhood. It is not just me. I could not do it if I did not have the support of all of our volunteers. And yes, we have been recognized locally by Shreveport Green, statewide by Keep Louisiana Beautiful, and on a national level by Keep America Beautiful for our efforts in our neighborhood. Mr. Cherry talked to me about property values and said that he disagreed with my opinion about how the placement of the mobile homes would devalue the surrounding properties. And in Section 3 of the book, there is a letter from Phil Moon, who is an MAI appraiser. He is very familiar with the neighborhood, and I asked him to write a letter. He did. And in the second paragraph of his letter, and I won't read the whole letter because I know you can read, and we've all read it, he says he understands the placement of the mobile homes is out of order in the location that they're in. He said, in your case, however, these are older single-wide mobile homes, a considerable contrast from the nearby residential properties noted in the photos you sent. Any prospective buyer of these adjacent properties would certainly take note of these older mobile homes prior to purchasing a property in close proximity. Given the choice to buy a property with or without this view, would most probably elect a property without the view, thus the implied discount to these residences. I do seem to recall that there may be several older single-wide mobile homes on the eastern side of Lakeview. He called it Lakeside, but it's Lakeview, but it's been a while since he's cruised the area, and what he means is the eastern side of the subdivision. He said, on one final note, from examining the Lakeview Extension No. 1 plat, all of the properties near these lots, except for 4342 Hampton, adjoining to the west, involve residents located on more than one lot. So residents are typically constructed on a 100 front-foot lot by 135-foot depth lot. These two single-wide mobile homes, the lots are 50 feet wide. They're put in perpendicular. They've shoved them in there, so that street now looks like it belongs in a trailer park. It's out of place. It's an unacceptable and incompatible use for the street. I have also a couple of pictures I wanted to show you. In case you've not seen these mobile homes, and I'll put this on the little screen here. Here's what they are. Can we do this little audio-visual thing here? Okay, those are the mobile homes. They're there. They're there now. They put them in, left them there. There's not a tree on the lot. It's bare dirt. They've not moved them out. They did say at zoning if they lost that they would do the right thing and move the mobile homes out. And as I want you to know, I understand if they do, they can put back 2 double wide. That's a use by right in R1D. Okay. Directly across the street from those mobile homes is Jeff Hart's house. Here's Jeff's house. Jeff has to look out his kitchen window every day at the 2 mobile homes. He has 2 children, a baby and a little 5-year-old girl. Across the street in the other direction is the farmer's house. A single-story brick veneer house on a slab. And just to the right of this house are the 2 mobile homes. Okay. There is one double-wide mobile home on that street, which until this issue came up, I never even noticed that it was a mobile home, but here it is. And the reason I didn't notice is because it's got a permanent roof over the structure, it's got a deck, it's got a wheelchair ramp, it's got a carport for the cars, and it's got ample storage for their tools and things. There's nothing stored out in the front. This is the house that is directly across the street from Jeff Hart's. Unfortunately, this house has burned since we met last. Since we met last, we've had a major tornado in Lakeview. Our subdivision is absolutely torn up. And this lady was burning the tree debris and caught her house on fire, and unfortunately she has no insurance, and I'm trying to work to come up with some creative, innovative way to help her tear the house down. This is on Hiawatha next door to my home, my neighbor's house. Very nice brick on a slab when the azaleas were in full bloom. This is Mrs. Page's house. The mobile homes back up to her house, directly to the rear of her property. That's what she has to look at. This is Mrs. Hearn's house directly across the street. Ms. Hearn could not be here today because she had business that she had to tend to. This is Miss Margie Morgan's house that is directly at the end of Hampton Lane. So when you look down Hampton Lane, you see the driveway that goes back to another brick house that's on a slab. And again, I think it's very obvious that the mobile homes as they are placed are an inappropriate placement of this type of property in our neighborhood, and I ask respectfully that you uphold the decision of the ZBA. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in opposition to this zoning case? Please state your name and address before the record.
My name is Mark Bates. I live at 4426 Tacoma Boulevard in Lakeview. I've lived there for 25 years. I really couldn't say it any better than what Joanne Willis said. The thing about it is, Cherry Land Management misled the people in the area. From what I understand, there's a procedure where you have to get permission from the people around you to put a structure on a piece of property. And you have to state what kind of piece of structure you're putting there. And the people were told that a nice double wide was going to be put in there. And that's not what happened. Because that lot is not big enough for 2 double wide. And they figured that out maybe after they cleared it. And the only way they're going to make money on it is if they slide 2 single wide in there, and they're going to try to get $600-something a month. And that's a lot of money for a single wide. And in Lakeview, I don't know who would pay that, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to say I have anything against renters or anything like that, but I just don't see it happening. I see a lot of maybe younger people having to share rent. I think that the trailers would wind up being overcrowded. Even the Sherry said, I said, well, what about where are they going to park their cars? They said, well, they're not even going to put in any driveways, from what I understand. And I said, well, what about outbuildings? Or, where are you going to put? How are they going to have a place for their lawnmower? Well, they'll just have to borrow a lawnmower from somebody or have somebody do the lawn. I don't. Anyway, it's all about the money. I really couldn't say it any better than what Joanne said. And thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else that wants to speak in opposition? Good afternoon. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Lotta Smith, and I live at 3444 Villa Avenue. I am in opposition to these trailers being down there because they're not very nice to look at, number one. The way he has put those trailers in there, the ground in between them goes down to drain, so when it rains, there's going to be a ditch between the trailers. And he talked to me and told me he was going to put trees in there and grass in there and all that. There's no place for children to play. There's no place for anyone to park. And all of us out there, I have 2 acres on the lake, and I don't want my property value to go down. There's a lot of us out there that lives around the lake that has larger homes, and I haven't got anything against someone living in a mobile home. In fact, I have my mother in a little double wide on the front of my property, which is kept precious. It looks just like a regular little house sitting up there. And I don't mind the double wides, but I think that this came in wrong because I was told that he was told to put a double wide in there or 2 double wides in there, and I agree with Mr. Mark Bates. There is not room for 2 double wides in there. And these double wides these single wides that are in there they don't belong there. They do not belong there. They are a detriment to that part of the subdivision, and they are going to end up bringing down our property values. My house was literally almost destroyed by the tornado. I took a direct hit on it. And why would I want to go in there and put back or build back another nice home out there when I know darn good and well down the line my property value is going to go down? That's not right. And I'm like with Joanne. We have all worked. I was at one time on the board of the Lakeview Community Association, and we have worked very, very hard to bring the standards up in that subdivision. And yes, there are a lot of mobile homes out there, but a lot of them are trashed because people do not take care of them. When the renters do come in, they let them go down, they don't take care of them, and then it's a bad eyesore on the rest of us in there, even though we work hard to try to clean them up. And then a lot of them sit out there and they think that the LCA is going to come in and clean them up for them. Well, we can't do that. So I would appreciate if you would deny this. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else here to speak in opposition?
Hello, everybody. Darrell Falls, 3478 Hiawatha. The single wides that are in our area, which a lot of them are older, have been there quite a while, were put on double lots and done the correct way. If you look at any of these single wides that are put on perpendicular like these are and are used for rental property, they are a total eyesore. And there's one in particular on the corner, although it's privately owned, that I've worked with the parish to try to get the people to clean up the yard, and we just can't do it. There are just no rules to get people to keep stuff out of their yard. What concerns me with this is no drives, no garages, no storage buildings, no grass, no trees, no nothing, no place for a kid to play. I mean, the things are about 20 feet apart. A nice double wide, done the correct way like a house should be, not like perpendicular parking, will look okay, and I know it would be landscaped okay. But the people that are going to live there are probably going to end up paying about $300 a month. And if you go down the street a couple of blocks, you'll see what that type trailer brings to our area. This has been studied over and over, and I'm just asking you gentlemen and gentlewomen to uphold the decision of the zoning board. They studied this hard. They're working for our interest and your interest and the interest of the parish, and please uphold their decision and don't overcome it. Thank you very much.
The opposition has spoken for their 15 minutes. Is there any other substantial information different from what we've heard that anybody needs to say? Substantially different. Okay, thank you. Okay, Spears.
Is he there?
Mrs. Spears?
Okay.
We're finished.
All right. Public hearing on regular ordinances, that being ordinance 4881, amend your building maintenance fund budget for security costs for government plaza in the amount of $50,000.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Next item.
Okay, we'll return to the zoning appeal case. The zoning case appeal BAP 4. Susan Cherry, applicant appellate.
I'd like to move to uphold the MPC's decision, and before we vote, I'd like to speak on it.
Been moved by Commissioner McCulloch, second by Commissioner Escaday. Commissioner McCulloch?
Yes, I'd like to just share with the body where I am with this at this point. When Mr. Cherry and his wife came by, of course, unexpectedly, it was a matter of hours prior to the ZBA having to make a decision, which meant that I hadn't had an opportunity to talk with anybody in the community. And because he was so pressed for time, I said, I tell you what, even in my weariness and being very tired, I said, would you just give me a ride, and I'll ride around and ride over on the street. We didn't ride around and view the whole community. That was not correct. So I had him to take me for a ride on the street to show me the location of the single wides. And after we visited that site, I said, well, before you take me back home, I'd like for you to go by and visit a friend of mine, Miss Lida Smith. She came up and spoke. Because I know Lida is somewhat a community activist, and I do communicate with Lida a whole bunch in regards to what's going on with Lakeview. And so in since then, in talking with Lyda and talking with some of the other residents, it was my understanding that a petition had been passed out through the community, and of course you can see that in the packet here, along with some letters that had been written. It appeared as if though there was some overwhelming opposition. Also, I had some concerns about the fact, and of course he was very apologetic, the fact that he agreed to do one thing and he did another, and that was, initially the deal was to bring in 2 double wides, and here sit the 2 single wides. So I had some concerns with him deceiving the residents within that community. As Jillian mentioned earlier, I've been on this commission 10 or more years, and this particular community, I don't know how many times, but more so than any community that I served, they have won several first place awards with the Great American Cleanup. I mean, as stated, they have hauled off tons and tons of junk within this community with our help. And I'm sure Property Standards and some others are pretty familiar with it. And of course, he's no longer employed here, but Mr. Jaron Rogers would assist a great deal in helping with the Great American Cleanup. I heard Ms. Cherry state that I said that I would support you, and at the time you came to me, as I said before, that was hours away from the ZBA making this decision. But I'd like to say to this body, based on the amount of opposition, and I know the goals that Lakeview have for their community, that's why I am asking you to uphold the MPC's decision. Thank you.
Let me just state for the record, even though they didn't get an opportunity to speak, there were some other people in opposition: Margie Morgan, Martha Bates, Thelma Page, James Lattin, and Faye Spigner. No, there's no other discussion. Vote. That passes. Next item, Mrs. Spears.
And next is the regular ordinance for final passage, ordinance 4881, amend your building maintenance fund, $60,000 for village security.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner Baker. Any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Next item.
Next, ordinances for introduction by title. Ordinance 4882 sets the general purpose and special purpose millages for the year 2009. Ordinance 4883 sets the parish millage for the purpose of paying principal and interest on outstanding parish bond issues for the year 2009. Ordinance 4884 sets the assessment on property classified as timberlands for the year 2009. Ordinance 4885 adopts the values fixed by the Louisiana Tax Commission on assessments for railways and other public service corporations for the year 2009. Ordinance 4886 declares certain adjudicated property and authorizes sale of the parish's tax interest therein. Ordinance 4887 amends the Code of Ordinances to amend the Schedule I, no truck zones, to add the streets of Shane Lane, Spring Ridge Drive, and Victoria Lane. That's all. Derek, you have no work session. Okay. Well, you do have May 4th.
You do have May 4th? I don't think...
well, maybe you don't.
Yeah, I don't think we have either one of those. Go to resolutions.
Next, resolutions. Resolution 22 authorizes the administrator to ask the Louisiana Department of Natural Resources to lease certain mineral interests owned by the Parish of Caddo as requested by Classic Petroleum.
Moved. Spoken.
Moved by Commissioner Dominique, second by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Please vote. That passes. Next item.
Resolution 23 supports the NACO, and I don't think you have that in your packet. I haven't completed the construction of that one yet, but it supports NACO presidential appointment application for Commissioners Lynch, Baker, and Lynn. Administrator Woody Wilson, and Facilities and Maintenance Director Keith McClung.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Lamb. Any discussion? Please vote. It passes. Next item.
Resolution 24 supports the establishment of Project Clean Slate in Caddo Parish.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner McCullough,
Second.
second by Commissioner Epperson. Discussion, Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah. I don't know much about this project. I have some questions that I don't know if anyone's prepared to answer today. Excuse me. Questions are, what are the standards of the program? What will it cost to administer the program? Who will administer the program? And how many persons can the program handle? And if the resolution could be reworded, we're not supporting it until we know what it's all about, then I could support it. But I can't support the establishment of the project without knowing anything about the project. I have a broad idea of what it is, but specifically I don't know how it would work in Caddo Parish.
Commissioner Thibodeau?
That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Lynn?
I Googled Project Clean Slate, and there was a lot of different information on it, and again, I was also confused because it was a big package, and it seemed to me that you didn't have to buy into the whole package, you could buy into part of the package, and there were some things that I agreed with and some things that I didn't necessarily agree with, and so I have to reiterate what Commissioner Thibodeau said, is that I don't understand what I'm voting on, to be honest with you. That's all. Thank you.
Commissioner McCullough?
Would it be in order to have Mr. Spears to actually read this resolution, Commissioner Lynch?
I've read it.
I think everybody's read it, Commissioner McCullough.
Well, in regards to paragraph 1, it indicates that it would assist persons arrested for and convicted of minor offenses, Commissioner Lynn, to have their records expunged and to assist persons in becoming current with, and it specifies, child support obligations and obtaining valid driver's license. So that kind of gives you, Commissioner Thibodeau, an idea of what our targets are, who our targets are. And right now, if you recall, maybe a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Mr. Wilson informed this body that there would be somewhat, I don't know if we would call it intergovernmental, but there's a meeting scheduled June 26th at 8:30. Is that correct, Mr. Wilson? Where you were invited to attend that meeting to give any input. It's going to take the judges, the lawyers. I mean, it's a great big community that's going to have to get involved and have some input. So it's my understanding, in order to really get this moving, I'm going to have to have the support of my colleagues to do that, and I'm sure there are going to be some limitations once we involve the entire community.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Baker?
On the support part, Commissioner McCullough, what are we going to do as far as support?
Once we involve all parties that are necessary, actually, the young man, J. Roy, was that his name, Stephanie? Out of court, Roy J., that actually presented the program in Oregon, he indicated that he would be willing to come here to show you the program, and I'm sure we would have to maybe provide transportation and housing for him, but it worked in Portland, Oregon. And so, again, once we meet with the community and we come together as a body, then it would be then that we would decide on what it is that we could actually do to free up some of these citizens so that they can live more productive lives. But right now, we need to inform you about the program, and it does, I mean, you can have limits. You know, it can be inclusive and it can be exclusive. But based on the needs of our communities and based on some of the issues that Mr. Weisinger and Mr. Lester Smith presented to you, minor offenses, we surely want to try and free up some of those citizens. And maybe that would maybe limit the possibilities in the future of building more jails.
Are you working on the deadline?
Well, actually, we're going to meet June 26th, and once we meet with the entire community, Shreveport Chamber of Commerce, city, the city police chief has agreed to work with us. Steve Prater has also agreed to work with us. There are other governmental bodies or entities that are going to have to be involved. You heard Mr. Weisinger or Mr. Lester Smith mention that there was a letter. We have asked administration to actually write a letter to these different entities. And when we're talking about entities, we're talking about over 10 or 11 different entities within the city and the parish to get involved to see what it is that we can actually do to free up some of these ex-offenders with minor offenses in order that they might live productive lives. But it's only when we meet together collectively that we're going to really be able to make the decisions as to how and what we want to do to serve these ex-offenders, to get them back out in the working world.
And it's not going to be just rural, it's going to be parish-wide?
Parish-wide. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam.
Commissioner Cox.
I know Ms. McCullough's worked on this for a while, and you probably could answer this question better than anybody. When you say a minor offense, give me an example.
I'm going to ask Attorney Frazier to come up and, because I've talked with the attorney.
Anybody, give me an answer.
Attorney Frazier, would you come up and just kind of give them some input on some discussions that we've had relative to
the only thing that I want to say is I know that, come on, Miss Donna, if I had known you had that pretty suit on, I'd have called you up here. I saw the other night that the marshal had over 3,000 outstanding warrants, and a lot of those are for tickets and that type thing, and people are riding around dodging. The police are having their licenses suspended or not able to seek employment because they have things on their records that are going to show up if they go apply for a job. It's just one example. And this process will allow them an intimidation factor from a community-based solution to come in and take care of that. I know they give them some allowance down there to come in, but for a lot of people, a government building is very intimidating, and that whole process is very intimidating. So this is just a community-based solution to allow people to come and get those matters taken care of. That was just my thoughts.
Minor offense.
In the Oregon program where this originated, it appears that it was misdemeanors, traffic tickets, things of that nature. In Louisiana, misdemeanors are eligible for expungement as long as they're not crimes of violence like batteries and assault. So in Louisiana, you would probably be looking at any misdemeanor but that category.
That's just what I said, Attorney.
So, okay, say we do this and we expunge their record. Then all of a sudden, a month down the road, they get another ticket and they say, well, we got it fixed one time. Is it a rotating door that can just keep getting done, or once you get it done one time, is it done? Because I don't want it to be abused.
It's my understanding that at some point the line is drawn.
This is a free giveaway to get some records straight. And I agree with the gentleman that came up here earlier. We've all done things, whether we want to admit it or not when we were younger. Everybody deserves a second chance. I'd rather a young man or a young lady come into my office, which they have, whether I be working in trucking or now, and tell them, hey, look, straight up, I got a record, or I've been in jail, or I've done it. I respect them more to telling me up front than not putting it on their application and me finding out from a background check. Okay? This is a free get-out-of-jail card, is the way I look at it. So my question is, can it be abused? Because if it is, that's a program I don't want. Can somebody answer me that?
Under the state law, your first offense is eligible for expungement, not subsequent.
Okay, who gives that?
That's Louisiana state law, is my recollection.
Who would be the one to give that?
When you say give?
Okay, it's written in the law, who's over that?
Well, what happens, the way the procedure works now, Commissioner, is when an offender is sentenced, the judge has to defer that sentence under Article 894 for felonies. And they have to successfully complete their probation. If at the end of their probation they've successfully completed it and paid all their fees, they would be eligible for expungement. But it cannot be done under Louisiana law if they're not, if their sentence is not deferred at the time of their sentencing.
So under this program, from what you just said, do they have a program to go through and, I mean, or is it just a free?
That's all a part of Project Clean Slate, and that's why it's going to be so important that you pull in your judges and your lawyers and everybody involved to make those type decisions in setting up the program.
And so
it's going to take a community to make it happen.
Well, it takes a community to do anything. I mean, to do anything, it takes a group of people to get together, good or bad. We bring our children up, and you're in the school system, you know this, and you preach this to your kids every day, I would assume you do, is that you grow up, you sit down in that classroom, you do your work, you learn, you get your diploma, and you go out and make something of yourself. We teach my kids that every day. I'm going to Ridgewood tomorrow for graduation, and we're going to tell those kids the same thing. If you do something in life that puts you behind the 8 ball, well then in the old days, you're just going to have to get up, pull your boots on, and make better of yourself. This is, I'm not saying I'm against the program, I'm saying I don't want the program to be abused. If we bring it in, I don't want it to be abused to the point where everybody says, I got it made. I just sign up for the program, it's off my record. I don't want it to be that way. And I would want something in writing or a program to be put in front of me that I can actually get behind to make sure it's not abused. Because programs like this, I'm not saying that this one, Mr. Lynn said it, and you go on the line and there's so many variations of it, of what can and cannot be done. So let's make sure of what we're going to do before we do this resolution. I'd make sure what we want to do. If there's different variations, if there's different programs, let's make sure what we're going to do. And before we bring somebody down to, talk to us, don't waste our taxpayer money. Make sure what we want before they come down. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, well, you can just stay up there. Commissioner Pearson.
No, I don't have a question for you.
No, I'm sorry. I was supposed to make a joke, but I decided not to. Commissioner Dominique is next, but I have you down, Commissioner Pearson.
I got a couple of questions. I think Commissioner McCullough answered some of them. The sheriff was behind this program, and looks like the chief of police, but I don't know about the district attorney. I would like to know who all is behind this, and it just seems like we need a little bit more information if we could get something in writing to answer some of the questions that the commissioners have. And I guess one of the questions I had for Donna, what is the difference between this program for expungements versus the 894 that we guys normally do in district court?
Commissioner, the only thing that I guess would be the difference is that in district court, they don't have any provisions that would address child support that I know of. I didn't work in that area. This program does have a component where it addresses child support, and I believe has the offenders do parenting classes and make arrangements for payment and things of that nature. As far as it being different from the 894, the way this program is set up in Oregon, I don't think Oregon law must be like Louisiana law. Apparently, they can apply for these whether they were for expungement, whether or not they were sentenced under certain provisions of the law. Whether this would be in addition to 894, I don't think in Louisiana you couldn't operate this unless they were sentenced under 894 at the time of their sentencing. There's not going to be a way to go back and get an expungement under the law if their sentence is not deferred at the time that they're sentenced.
if they don't get an 894, they can't get an expungement.
Exactly.
But I don't see what good it would do, because if someone got an 894 and they do what they're supposed to do, they comply with the probation, they pay the fees, they're going to get the expungement automatically.
Well, they do have to come back to court and present their petition.
Right.
So, but as long as they've
Is this going to help with
complied,
doing some of that, presenting the petition and getting that done, or?
I think it will just depend on how the program is structured.
So these are some of the questions I think we need to know. On the child support, I mean, on the face, this sounds really good, because, you know, we get individuals, and we see it all the time. If you go to district court on Friday, they're backlogged with individuals who owe back due child support, and a lot of them get their license taken away because they don't pay the child support. They may be sentenced to 90 days in jail for contempt and then get out and try to start working, and it's a hard situation. If you get your driver's license taken away, how can you, well, you can apply for hardship, you know, a hardship driver's license, so you can get a job. And a lot of times people have minor offenses by getting tickets and not paying that ticket, and then they'll get an automatic driving under suspensions. If you get a DUS and you get picked up on another DUS, they suspend your license for another year, so you're looking at 2 years, and it's just a loop system that can really be hard unless this thing was going to come back and try to address someone who had a driving under suspension in Shreveport and Caddo to go back in there and get it changed, because you'd have to get that changed from a driving under suspension to no driver's license, something to get your license back. Otherwise, you'd be suspended for a whole year. On the face, it says good. It looks good. There's some questions out there that I think maybe we need something in writing and more detailed. I don't know if Ms. McCullough can get with Mr. Wilson to give us, a few-page document exactly what all this will be.
There are some other commissioners that haven't spoken yet. Commissioner Pearson?
In Portland, this was driven, and you hit it right on the head, Commissioner Dominic. It was driven because there were suspended driver's licenses out there because of these minor offenses, and I hate to, that they were not arrested for. These were not people that were arrested. These were citizens out there who had suspended driver's licenses and who was driving under suspension and could not apply for and could not maintain or get a job, either because the job required them to drive or they could not get to the job because their license was revoked. And this was one of the things. This is really what drove it. It wasn't so much as like first offender program. I think one of the guys who came up spoke about the first offender program, which is people who have been sentenced in some way, and because they were first offenders to a nonviolent act, they are put in a special program to help them to get back, which I'm all for those kinds of programs. I think the judges are going to have to be the one to drive this to determine if it's a way they can do what these people did in Oregon. I mean, they went at a gymnasium and they had the files of all these people and lines of folks outside waiting to see if they could get, and I don't know if expunge is the correct word, because they had to do something. I mean, they weren't just given, it says clean slate, but they had to either work it off, they had to do something to get there, to pay the penance, so to speak. And I mean, it worked for them because the economy and the fact that people could not drive and could not use a vehicle, to me is what, when I understood Roy talking about it, is what really drove the deal. But they had lines and lines of people outside the gymnasiums 2 or 3 times trying to get some help with expired driver's license or drivers, whether it was because of child support or whatever issue they had. But that's basically, I mean, we don't want to confuse that with First Amendment program because it's not the same thing. But, I mean, I can support it in principle. I don't know what our role is. I don't know what our role would be. That would be my only question, because the judges are going to have to make it. Those are the folks that's going to have to sit down and say, we can do it, and this is how we can do it. But, you know, I support the idea.
Finish, Commissioner Pearson?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Escaday?
Kind of picking up on what everybody else said, probably in essence, it's overall we need to do something like this. It'd be a good plan. If the sheriff and chief of police were able to support this, then obviously they have more information than we do. They must know something that I don't know, because it's very vague as to what the program will do and what we're signing on for. You know, the last thing I want to do is support something that's going to cost, you know, try to do one good on one hand and then create another bad situation on another, which could lead to loss of revenue for the parish or so the courts or anything else as a result of something we may do. And, you know, it's probably like everybody else, we've been a long time ago. You know, I also have a concern that they'll be right here lined up with everybody else this fall wanting money to do this. So those are my concerns. Thank you.
Commissioner McCullough?
Yes, initially when I had this put on the agenda last year, and I met with the administration and the attorneys, I think we somewhat decided to target the people that didn't have a driver's license, and one of the recommendations was to maybe get some stats on those people that didn't have a valid driver's license from the Driver's License Bureau. And according to them, the Driver's License Bureau wasn't willing, or they weren't able to provide the stats as far as how many people were actually without a driver's license. And also initially last year, what I did ask was that, and I can understand all of your concerns, it makes sense that you have these concerns, but what you need to understand is I'm simply following the guidance and the advice of administration, because initially last year I asked that we start out with a letter to all of the different entities that would be involved in maybe planning this program and making some decisions as to how this program would work. But I was advised that I must first do a resolution getting you to support the idea versus sending this letter. The letter is in place, and I was asked on Monday if I wanted the letter mailed out Tuesday. I said, well, let's just wait until the resolution is passed. And if the resolution is passed, because I was advised that the resolution needed to have been done first. If the resolution passes, then we will push the letter to the different entities. So if you feel that, and it sounds like most of you have some concerns about, you know, all that the program is going to involve, what's going to be involved in the program, and I understand that, what I would like to do at this point is make an amendment to my motion, and that is a resolution to explore the establishment of Project Clean Slate in Caddo Parish. Instead of supporting, I would ask that we change the support to explore this project. Thank you.
Commissioner Thibodeau, you want to speak on the current motion on the floor?
No.
Any other discussion? The current motion on the floor. Please vote.
Just a moment, please.
Okay. Okay, that passes. We're going to go on and do the recognition for the Loyola Flyers.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Escaday, second by Commissioner Baker. Yes. Right.
Vote on it.
Your number.
And just for the record, can you kind of tell us what the recognition is about? Yes. For the television audience.
Basically, this is recognition, as I told you before, that the Loyola Flyers won the first state lacrosse championship ever. And what's significant about that is that you can only be the first at something once. Nobody can come back and one up you. But also, we wanted to commend the school for its achievements. The school is over 100 years old here. It is not the elitist school that everybody paints it out to be. There are kids from all walks of life, from all faiths and denominations. 70% of them are on financial aid. They sacrificed to go to that school. The senior class that graduated this year will have done 13,000 community service hours in their 4 years there. So they are taught in the Jesuit philosophy and tradition to give back before they're ever on the receiving end of anything, which is a good thing. It's a tremendous school. There's some good kids that come before it, and winning the athletic thing is nice, but I also think that the academic achievements and the caliber of the students and what they give back to the community are nice as well. My daughter was here a little while ago visiting. She's a Loyola grad and just recently graduated from Loyola University in New Orleans, going this fall to the Loyola University Law School. So I guess she's going for the Loyola trifecta, as we Catholics would call it, the Holy Trinity of academia. But anyway, it's been in our community 105 years. It's got a long tradition, and it's more about service blended into their education. I just wanted to acknowledge them. I knew there was a chance they couldn't be here. As you know, those of you involved in education, there's exams going on and all this kind of stuff. So, but anyway, appreciate your support.
Thank you, Commissioner Escudé. Commissioner Thibodeau, is this from last time or just on this?
That's from last time.
Okay, Commissioner Cox.
I was just going to make a comment to John, saying as much as how long he gets along with our attorneys and on the panel and everything, how you going to do with one in the family?
Defense mechanism, and actually, I had a friend of mine who's a lawyer the other day. I said, well, where's she going to graduate? I said, she's going to graduate school. He said, yes, for what? I said, predatory sciences.
Next item, Mrs. Spears.
Yes, new business authorizing professional services contract technical assistance relative to American Recovery and Reinvestment Act.
So moved. Moved by Commissioner Lee and seconded by Commissioner McCulloch. Any discussion? Commissioner Thibodeau?
Do we have someone in mind for this, and do we know what it's going to cost? And
No, sir, we don't have any in one particular bind. I've been trying to solicit some feedback. I did contact the Mr. Jim Wiggins at the Southern Strategy Group about the idea and see if they know of any firms that would have any information on how we can do this more rapidly. And I asked him to give me a proposal. He's going to put it to me in writing. So I told him it can't cost me a dime until we know what the bottom line is. So we're just exploring the idea now. Who can we possibly use to help us go beyond what we were able to do in-house?
Aren't we getting any assistance from our senators and our representatives?
Yes, sir, we do. We had a call from Senator Vitter's office last week. We did give them copies of this stimulus package back in February when we went for NACO, and they have this, and we've gotten several calls with respect to it. But the amounts of paperwork that you would have to go through just to get to the bottom line is time-consuming. We just don't have the manpower to go that in depth into this process.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jenkins?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to remind everyone that we will have a quick meeting immediately after our session today on the stimulus bill. This is going to be a part of what we were going to talk about. Yes, we're going to meet back in the conference room. Thank you, ma'am.
And I also want to add that we're in contact with NACO as well, with getting some guidance on this. And as I appreciated, the ad hoc committee is going to kind of be discussing the scope of this. I don't really, okay. All right, Commissioner Escaday.
Wilson, and your opinion, you want this necessary?
If the board expect me to go beyond what we're able to do, sir, we will need some additional help.
Okay.
All right, please vote. That passes. Next item.
Authorize commissioners to travel to the NACO Large Urban County Caucus Fly-In.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson, second by Commissioner Baker. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Thibodeau, register.
I had no on there.
Okay. Ms. Vita.
It doesn't register no anymore?
Well, you had punched it after it had gone on, but register his vote, Ms. Vita, is no. Next item.
Confirm the appointment of Marilyn Smith to the Board of Fire District Number 6.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion?
Oh, boy.
Please vote.
Would y'all say it only voted no at Escaday Station?
No, Escaday push one more time. Okay, that passes. Next item.
Appoint Mary Talent to the Board of Lakeview Waterworks District.
So moved. Moved by Commissioner McCullough, second by Commissioner Baker. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Eppert?
I'd like to make a motion to have a resolution of recognition prepared for the Evangel Christian Academy girls softball team and boys baseball team and winning the state championship in both of those sports and present it at our June 4th meeting.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion? Please vote.
Just a moment, hold on.
Hey, won't they be out of school? Won't they be out of school?
They confirmed, told me they ready.
He's taking care of business.
You can vote now.
We'll be out of school.
He's on
Commissioner Baker, push one more time, and Commissioner Pearson.
Okay.
And then you,
Okay, that passes. Commissioner Baker?
yeah. Oh, yes, I did. Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to take this time to thank Mr. Everett Harris of Caddo Animal Mosquito Control and also Mr. Daniel for coming out Tuesday to, we had a party with the Crime Prevention Purpose that focused on crime on MacArthur Drive, and also they addressed the animal and mosquito issues, and then we had talked about some project standards. So I just wanted to give kudos to them and thank them for coming out and supporting that party with the Crime Prevention Purpose.
Commissioner McCullough?
Yes, I wanted to ask Woody if you could go ahead and move forward with the letter to the judges and Sheriff Prater in regards to trying to get them to explore along with us Project Clean Slate. All right, thank you.
Any other matters for the commission? None? Meeting adjourned.